For this skill, one of the most important things for us to know is slope-intercept form and ways to find that slope. So slope-intercept form is y equals mx plus b. Remember, that's on your star chart. You don't have to memorize that. Now, what is not on your star chart is what the m represents and the b. The m represents slope, and the b represents the y-intercept. That is where the graph is crossing on the y-axis. Now, we have different ways to find slope. The first way to find slope is to use the formula that's on the star chart. That's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. On a graph, we can count the rise over run. So how many up over how many over. Make sure on rise over run that you're looking at the scale. So what are they counting by on the axis? Or another way that we've written it is change in y over change in x. So finding the difference between those two and dividing them. So on this first one, we just have to read through the situation and see how can we write that equation. So researchers in Antarctica discovered a warm sea current under a glacier that is causing the glacier to melt. The ice shelf of the glacier had a thickness of approximately 450 meters when it was first discovered. Remember, we circle the numbers when we see them. The thickness of the ice shelf is decreasing. That seems like an important word. That means subtraction at an average rate of 0.06 meters per day. Per, remember, that means times. Which function can be used to find the thickness of the ice shelf in meters at X days since the discovery? So we have 450. Remember, we said decreasing means minus. 0.06 per means multiply. So we actually have a match to our equation right here on letter A. Whenever we have a table, we have to find our slope by doing the change in y divided by change in x. So here I subtracted 12 for my y's, and here I added 4. So you can also type that in the calculator. We can do negative 3.5 minus negative 7.5. That gives you 4 for our x. So our change in y divided by our change in x is negative 12 divided by 4, and that gives me negative 3. That's my slope. And remember, when we have our equation, y equals mx plus b, our slope is negative 3. That goes in for our m, which is multiplying by x. B does not have that. C does not have that. D does not have that. So our answer must be A. Okay, this one, same steps, but we're going to have our equation look a little bit different. On this one, all of our equations are in point slope form. This is also on your star chart. Y minus y1 equals mx minus x1. Now on this one, we can go in and find the slope first. So right here, we added 72, and on the left side, we added 6. So our slope, our change in y divided by change in x is 72 over 6. 72 divided by 6 is 12. So I can go ahead and cross off F and G because both of those do not have a slope, our M, as 12. From here, I'm going to look at my y and x values. So remember, we are going to do y minus y1. So if we look at 268 and 20, which one of those is y values? Well, 268 is what? 20 is an x value. So that one doesn't work. And then we check, is 20 our x value? for 268? Yes, it is. So this is our y1. This is our x1. So H must be true. Okay, on this one, an organization has a monthly budget of X dollars. Every month, $2,070 is spent on salaries. 1/4 of the remaining budget is spent on monthly activities. Which function can be used to find the amount of dollars spent on monthly activities? So it says that our monthly budget is X dollars. That means that's our starting amount. So if we take X and we take away the amount spent on salaries, that's going to give us an amount that we have left to spend on activities. But then it says we only spend 1/4 of that amount on activities. So we would multiply by 1/4 or divide by 4. So our answer would be D. On these last two questions, you have a couple of choices. You can either graph the answer choices and match it to the graph, or we can look at the slope and find the y-intercept and the slope from the graph. So if you would like to, you can graph each of these answer choices in your calculator and see which one matches the graph. If you want to do it by hand, we're going to look for our y-intercept. In this case, this is our y-intercept, which is our b in our y equals mx plus b formula. So our b should be -2. The only ones with that are A and D. The next thing I notice is that my graph, as we're going from left to right, my graph is going down, which means negative slope. The only one with that is A, but just to check the slope, we can start here and we go down 1, 2, 3, and over 1. Down 3 over 1 translates to a -3 slope. Now for this other one, our y-intercept is here at 5. So our answer cannot be B or C. We're going to also find our slope is going up, which is positive. So our answer should be D, but we'll check, is it going up 1 over 1 for our slope? Which it is, up 1 over 1 for the slope.